Sign it. A divorce agreement. Contemptuously thrown in front of Suzy by the old Madame Fu. Walk away empty-handed. Leaving the child. The Fu family has supported you for 7 years. Don't be ungrateful. Suzy looked at the clause on the agreement stating voluntarily relinquish all property, and smiled. 7 years. She went from being the pride of heaven to a free maid for the Fu family. Her husband, Fu Shiyan, is as cold as ice. And her mother-in-law regards her as nothing. Now, his cherished white moonlight has returned with a child, and she, the rightful wife, should be gone. Mommy. 5-year-old Dodo tightly grabbed her shirt corner. His small face pale. Suzy squatted down, rubbed her son's head, and spoke in an unusually gentle voice. Dodo, be good. Your surname is Fu. She stood up, took the pen, and signed her name under the astonished gazes of Fu Shiyan and her mother-in-law. No crying, no fuss, so calm, as if signing for an inconsequential delivery. Fu Shiyan's brow furrowed. An inexplicable tightness in his chest. He sneered. Suzy, if you leave me, you won't survive 3 days. Suzy didn't look at him. She turned and resolutely walked out of the golden cage that had imprisoned her for 7 years. Not survive for 3 days. Fu Shiyan. You will soon find out who truly cannot live without whom. The Fu family's villa is brightly lit. In the first hour after Suzy left, Fu Shiyan felt a significant quietness around him. Gone were the careful footsteps of that woman. Gone were her meek inquiries. And the air seemed to freshen. Shiyan. Don't be angry. Women like that. If they leave, then let them go. They're not worth it. A delicate female voice broke the silence. As Lin Weiwei approached him gracefully, holding a glass of red wine. She was Fu Shiyan's white moonlight. And also his first love whom he was forced to part with back then. Now, she returned in glory with a 5-year-old boy who resembled Fu Shiyan. Fu Shiyan took the wine glass, took a sip, and his gaze was murky and inscrutable. She didn't ask for anything. Yes, old Madame Fu. Fu Shiyan's mother scoffed. At least she has some self-awareness. A useless person who knows nothing but how to have children still wants a share of the Fu family's wealth. Dream on. Lin Weiwei gently leaned against Fu Shiyan's shoulder. Shiyan. Don't blame Miss Su. She might just be acting out of a moment's anger. Once she hits a wall out there, she'll naturally understand the good of the Fu family. Fu Shiyan remained non-committal. He irritably tugged at his tie. And in his mind, Suzy's calm eyes flashed uncontrollably as she signed the agreement. Too calm. Calm to the point of unlike her. Dad. A timid voice came from the top of the stairs. Dodo. Fu Ziqian, wearing a teddy bear pajama, rubbed his swollen eyes and softly asked, Mommy, when will you be back? Fu Shiyan's heart was once again filled with inexplicable irritation. She won't come back. Why? Dodo's tears fell like loose beads, plopping down one by one. Is it because Dodo isn't obedient? So Mommy doesn't want me anymore. Don't talk nonsense. Old Mrs. Fu reprimanded sharply. It's your mother who is shameless, having an affair with another man outside. Our Fu family cannot tolerate such an immoral woman. Daodu was so frightened that he trembled all over and cried even harder. Fu Shiyan's brows furrowed even tighter. In the past, whenever Daodu cried, Suzy would always appear at the first moment, gently holding him in her arms and soothing him softly. But now, he glanced at his son, who was crying so hard he could barely catch his breath, and then at Lin Weiwei, who was standing next to him, at a loss for what to do. An unnamed rage surged to the top of his head. Enough. What are you crying about? A boy should behave like a boy. He shouted at Dodo. Daodu fell silent in fear, his small body trembling like a leaf in the wind. He looked at Fu Shiyan, and for the first time, fear showed in his eyes. Fu Shiyan's heart felt as if it had been pricked by a needle. He wanted to step forward and hug his son. But that boy, Anan, next to Lin Weiwei, suddenly ran over and pointed at Daodu. saying in a babyish voice, "Shameful face. Crying nose." Dodo's face went pale in an instant. He turned around and stumbled back to his room. Slamming the door shut with a loud bang, the entire living room fell into a deathly silence. The day after Suzy left, Fu Shiyan got up in the morning and habitually walked to the wardrobe. In the past, Suzy would have prepared and ironed his suit, shirt, tie, and even cufflinks in advance, hanging them neatly without a single wrinkle. But today, the wardrobe was empty. He searched for quite a while before finally finding a crumpled shirt deep inside the wardrobe. In the restaurant, there was no longer the hand-brewed coffee he was accustomed to, which was just the right temperature. Only a cup of sickly sweet instant coffee remained. It was thoughtfully prepared for him by Lin Weiwei. "Shiyan, try this. I specially brewed it for you." Fu Shiyan looked at the floating cheap coffee grounds in the cup, a wave of nausea churning in his stomach. "I won't drink this." He coldly set the cup down. Lin Weiwei's face turned pale for a moment. "What's wrong?" "You used to love the coffee I made the most." Fu Shiyan did not respond. He only felt that this morning was terrible. Arriving at the company, the assistant handed over a document. "Mr. Fu, this is the final bidding proposal for the land in the South City. Please take a look." Fu Shiyan opened it. The dense data made his head ache. In the past, this initial sorting work was always done at home by Su Shiyi to help him. That woman, although not presentable, had an astonishing talent for data analysis. She could always present him with the most essential information using the simplest charts. But now, he irritably closed the document. "Take it back and redo it." The assistant looked bewildered. "But this is already the most detailed version there is." The entire morning, Fu Shiyan felt restless. He always felt that something was missing. Until the afternoon. A phone call came through to his mobile. It was from the police station. "Is this the family of Su Jiangwo? He is suspected of illegal gambling and intentional injury, and has been detained by us. Please come to the police station." Su Jiangwo, that gambling father of Su Ziyi. Fu Shiyan's brows furrowed into a knot. This woman is causing trouble for her family right after her divorce. Did she calculate correctly that he would help her clean up the mess? He suppressed his anger and drove to the police station. As a result, just as he arrived at the door, he witnessed a good show. Su Ziyi was wearing a simple white t-shirt and jeans, without a trace of makeup. Yet she was more dazzling than ever. In front of her knelt her mother and younger brother. "Ziyi, you can't be so heartless. He's your biological father. Sis. Hurry and tell the police. It's all a misunderstanding. Dad was just playing cards with his friends." Su Ziyi looked at them, her gaze as cold as ice. "Playing cards. Is breaking someone's leg also called playing cards? Are you planning to make me pay off the 3 million gambling debt he owes? I'm telling you, from today on, I, Su Ziyi, have no more relation with the Su family. Your life and death have nothing to do with me." Her words landed like a heavy stone. The surrounding reporters snapped their flashbulbs in a flurry. The awakening of a noble woman abandoned. Su Ziyi publicly announces her severance from her biological family. Fu Shiyan sat in the car, watching that tall and unyielding woman amidst the crowd. His heart skipped a beat once again. Uncontrollably, he suddenly realized, the woman he thought was too frail to take care of herself seemed to not need him at all. Su Ziyi made the social news. The title is glaring: "The abandoned wife of the Fu family stages a grand drama of severing ties." Is it awakening or hype? Madame Fu saw the news and was so angry that she smashed the teacup in her hand. How dare she? It's truly outrageous. Does this woman want to ruin the reputation of the Fu family? Shiyan, call me right now and tell her to retract the news. Make her explain it clearly to the reporter. Fu Shiyan stared at the clear, determined face of Su Ziyi on his phone, and inexplicably said a single sentence. "She's no longer a member of the Fu family. Her matters have nothing to do with us." The old lady Fu was momentarily taken aback. So enraged that she couldn't find her voice. Lin Weiwei walked over at the right moment and gently advised, "Auntie, please don't be angry. Miss Su." She was just confused for a moment. "I heard that her family is like a bottomless pit. She's acting this way out of desperation." The more she showed this kind of understanding, the more old lady Fu found Suzy utterly detestable. "What do you mean out of desperation? I think she did it on purpose to show us. Do you really think that by doing this, we would soften and beg her to come back? Dream on." Fu Shiyan did not take part in their discussion. For the first time, he clicked open the comments section under that news article. "Wow. Sister is so awesome. Finally free from her vampire family. It was about time. Support the sister. Stay away from trash, or you'll end up unhappy." Am I the only one who thinks she seems prettier after the divorce? Fu Shiwan looked at the comment that said has become more beautiful. His finger paused for a moment. It seemed to be true, without the tedious household chores. Without the careful efforts to please, she radiated a kind of brilliance, a confident and powerful light the likes of which he had never seen before. Ding dong. His phone buzzed. It was a message from his assistant. "Mr. Fu. I found out about Miss Su's whereabouts as you asked. She seems to have joined an MCN organization, and she has her first live broadcast tonight at 8 o'clock. Live streaming." Fu Shiyan's brows furrowed even tighter. What is she planning to do? Expose herself to the public and become a sensational internet celebrity? Does she know where this will leave the Fu family's reputation? 8 o'clock in the evening. Fu Shiyan, as if possessed, downloaded that live streaming app he had never used before. He didn't even use his own account but anonymously entered a live stream room called GE. The live stream room was very quiet. Suzy wore a simple white shirt. Sitting in front of the camera, there were no exaggerated beauty filters, no noisy music. She just sat there quietly, emanating a calming power. Wow, the anchor is so charming. This looks absolutely outshines all the internet celebrities. Suzy looked at the comments on the screen and smiled gently. "Hello everyone. My name is Z. From today onward, I will be here to share with you some stories about beauty." Her voice was soft and clear, like a clear spring in the mountains. It instantly calmed the restlessness in Fu Shiyan's heart. He stared at the woman on the screen, lost in thought. He had been married for 7 years, yet he never knew her voice could be so pleasant. "Today, let's start with a lipstick." Suzy picked up a high-end lipstick, and instead of applying it to her lips in a loud and flashy manner like other streamers, she began to speak softly. "This lipstick shade is called Queen's Scepter. Its perfumer is my friend, an elderly French man who suffers from color blindness. He told me that although he cannot see colors, he can smell them. He said that red is the scent of roses scorched by the sun in the summer afternoon. Passionate, confident, and unafraid, just like each one of us who strive to live." Her story is very touching. The number of people in the live stream began to rise rapidly. "Oh my gosh, this story is just too heartbreaking. Suddenly, I feel like what I bought isn't lipstick, but an attitude." Host, drop the link. I want to buy. Suzy smiled. "I'm not selling anything today. I just want to tell everyone that luxury goods are never meant to please others, but rather, they are meant to give ourselves a reason to hold our heads high when life has us gasping for breath. We're not buying products. We're buying armor." This statement struck a chord with everyone. The barrage of comments in the live broadcast room exploded. "Sister, you said it so well. I'm a fan now. This is true clarity in the world. Those streamers who only shout, 'Buy it,' should take notes. Sister, will you be streaming tomorrow? I'll definitely be there." Fu Shiyan looked at the screen, at that eloquent, confident, and composed woman. In his heart, it felt as if a bottle of mixed flavors had been overturned. Sour, astringent, bitter, spicy. For the first time, he realized that he seemed to have never truly known his wife. At that moment, a golden ID suddenly appeared on the public screen. Mysterious Big Shot K gifts the streamer Carnival X100. The entire live broadcast room was covered with dazzling special effects. One Carnival costs 3,000 yuan. 100. That's 300,000. Wow. The big shot has arrived. God K. It's actually God K, the legendary mysterious investor who never shows his face. Oh my god. God K is actually watching the live stream and has given the host so many gifts. Fu Shiyan looked at that arrogant ID, his pupils suddenly constricting. K. That mysterious big shot on Wall Street, able to turn the tide with a flip of his hand. How could he be here? What is his relationship with Su Ziyi? A sense of crisis, unprecedented and overwhelming, instantly swept over Fu Shiyan. Su Ziyi's first live stream went viral, not because of how much she sold, but because of her not selling anything. The abandoned wife of a rich family transforms into a clear-headed female streamer. Mysterious tycoon spends 300,000 to show his affection. The next day, these two topics surged to the trending searches. Fu Shiyan hadn't slept all night. He replayed that live broadcast over and over again, watching the interaction between Su Ziyi and that K on the screen. K. You said it well, Ziyi. Thank you, K. What will you broadcast tomorrow, Ziyi? I haven't thought it through yet, K. I'll watch whatever you broadcast. A few brief exchanges. Yet they conveyed an indescribable familiarity and ambiguity. Fu Shiyan's heart felt as if it were being tightly grasped by an invisible hand. The pain made it hard for him to breathe. He called his assistant to the office. Find out for me. He pointed at the golden ID on the screen. His voice as cold as ice. Who is this K? What is his relationship with Su Ziyi? The assistant looked at his boss's bloodshot eyes, scared to the point of shivering, and crawled out in a panic. The Fu family mansion. Dao Du hasn't eaten much for 2 days. He shut himself in his room, refusing to see anyone. Old Madame Fu is anxiously pacing back and forth. This little ancestor. Does she want to go on a hunger strike? Does she actually think she can force us to compromise this way? I told her. Not a chance. Lin Weiwei held a bowl of porridge and gently said, Auntie, don't be anxious. I'll go in and talk to her. She pushed open the door and walked to Dao Du's bedside. Dao Du, be good. Eat something. Okay. Look, this is your favorite seafood porridge. Dao Du buried his head in the blanket and sulkily said, The one my mommy makes is the best. Lin Weiwei's expression stiffened for a moment. Your mommy. She's very busy now. She doesn't have time to cook for you. She's lying. Dodo suddenly threw off the blanket, his red eyes glaring at her. I saw her streaming yesterday. She was chatting with a bad uncle, laughing so happily. She just doesn't want me anymore. She's not my mommy anymore. She's a bad woman. The child's words, careless and sharp, pierced deeply into Fu Shiyan's heart as he rushed in upon hearing the commotion. He looked at the son on the bed, crying and making a scene, filled with resentment, thinking of Su Ziyi in the live broadcast room. That carefree demeanor. A surge of anger rushed to my head. Oh you, Su Ziyi, to be with another man, even abandoning your own son. He took out his phone and dialed the number he thought he would never call again. The phone rang for a long time before it was answered. Hello. It was Su Ziyi's cold voice. Su Ziyi. Fu Shiyan, suppressing his anger, gritted his teeth and said, Do you even know you have a son? On the other end of the line, there was a moment of silence. Mr. Fu, is there something you need? Her voice was polite and distant, as if she were speaking to a stranger. Is something wrong? Fu Shiyan laughed in anger. Your son is going to the ends of the earth for you. Do you think I have nothing going on? Get your ass back here right now. Get back here and pacify Dodo. If not, I'll make sure your live stream never goes on again. He thought that such a threat would at least make Suzy give in. Little did he know. The woman on the other end of the phone merely chuckled softly. Mr. Fu, it seems you've misunderstood something. The custody of Dodo is in your hands. It is your responsibility to educate and comfort him, not mine. As for my live broadcast, she paused, her voice carrying a hint of languid mockery. Don't bother yourself. My live stream has plenty of people to back me up. With that, she hung up the phone. Beep beep beep. Hearing the busy tone on the phone, Fu Shiyan felt completely bewildered. She actually hung up on him and said someone was protecting her. Is it that Kay? Has she really found a new place so eagerly? Fu Shiyan was so angry that his whole body shook. He punched the wall, and the back of his hand was instantly covered in blood. At this moment, in Suzy's live streaming room, she had just hung up the phone when she saw Kay's ID light up on the public screen again. Kay. Trouble. Suzy looked at those two words and felt a warmth in her heart. She smiled helplessly at the camera. It's nothing. Just a mad dog biting everything in sight. This metaphor instantly set the fans in the live stream room ablaze. Wow. Sister is so daring to say that. Is it the ex-husband? With that tone, it must be that scumbag CEO. Right. Sister, you're absolutely right. You can't show mercy to a mad dog. And at his computer, Fu Shiyan saw this bullet screen and was so enraged that he almost spat out blood. Mad dog. Did she just call him a mad dog? He was about to explode when he saw that golden ID, once again, arrogantly dominating the entire screen. K. Mad dog. Then I'll take care of it for you. K. All members. From today on, the GE livestream room is under my protection. Anyone who dares to touch a hair on her head is going against me. K. In addition, I personally suggest that everyone can sell their shares in the Fu Group. K. There's no reason. It's just simply that I don't like their boss. These few sentences were like a deep-water bomb. The entire financial circle was stirred up by Kay's words, creating a tremendous uproar. The Fu family's stocks began to plummet dramatically within just a few minutes. Fu Shiyan's phone was instantly bombarded with calls. He looked at the screen, at the woman who was still calmly introducing a fragrance. For the first time, he felt fear. This Kay, for her, is actually willing to go against the entire Fu family. And he, it seems, is really about to lose her. 4. The Fu Group has turned into a complete mess. Mr. Fu, it's bad. Our stock price is still falling. Mr. Fu, several major shareholders have called, questioning whether we've offended Mr. K. Mr. Fu. News from Wall Street says that Mr. K is rallying all capital to short sell us. Fu Shiyan sat in the president's office, his expression dark enough to drip water. He underestimated Kay's influence. He also underestimated Suzy's weight in that man's heart. For a woman, Kay actually dared to shake the very foundation of the Fu family. Shiyan, what should we do? Lin Weiwei was so anxious she was on the verge of tears. How about you apologize to Miss Su? Let her plead with Mr. K. Shut up. Fu Shiyan shouted angrily. Let him go beg that woman. On what basis? When has Fu Shiyan ever put up with this kind of humiliation? Go. Prepare the car for me. He ordered coldly. I want to meet this K. He just didn't believe that this elusive fellow could possess any extraordinary skills. Half an hour later, at the top private club in Jiangqing, Fu Shiyan met K. When he saw the other person's face, he froze completely. Is it you? The man before him was dignified and exuded an extraordinary charm. It was none other than the mysterious investor, Lu Jinian, whom he had sought in vain for the land in the southern part of the city. Lu Jinian, the heir of the Lu family in the capital, is truly from a top-notch aristocratic family. The power of his family is simply not comparable to that of the Fu family. Mr. Fu, It's a pleasure to meet you. Lu Jinian elegantly swirled the glass of red wine in his hand. A smile that seemed neither fully a smile nor completely absent gracing his lips. Did you say you wanted to see me? Fu Shiyan was instantly drenched in cold sweat. He never expected that Kay would actually be Lu Jinian. Lu. President Lu. He struggled to speak. Is there some kind of misunderstanding here? Misunderstanding. Lu Jinian raised an eyebrow. I actually think there's no misunderstanding at all. He threw a document in front of Fu Shiyan. This is the letter of intent for the acquisition from the Fu Corporation. I'm giving you two choices. First, take your family and get out of Jiangqing. Secondly, I will make the Fu family disappear completely. His voice was very calm, but beneath that calm was a devastating power. Fu Shiyan's face was as pale as paper. Why? He asked reluctantly. Just because of a woman. A woman. Lu Jinian smiled. He slowly stood up, walked in front of Fu Shiyan, and looked down at him. Fu Shiyan, do you know who that woman you mentioned is? 7 years ago, you forced her to give up her offer from Oxford University through despicable means, disbanded her startup team, cut off all her escape routes, and turned her into a canary that could only depend on you. What you destroyed was a genius who was meant to stand at the pinnacle of the world. And I. Lu Jinian paused. His eyes filled with an inextricable depth of affection and regret. I searched for her for 7 years. Cherished her for 7 years. She is my fiancée, whom I have been promised to since childhood. Boom. Fu Shiyan's mind was completely blown. Fiancée. Su Zi. Actually Lu Jinian's fiancée. How is that possible? She was clearly just an ordinary girl from a third-tier small city. Impossible. He shouted in disbelief. Believe it or not. It's up to you. Lu Jinian brushed off non-existent dust from his sleeves. I'll give you 3 days to think about it. 3 days later. I don't want to see anyone with the surname Fu in Jiang City again. After saying this, he turned and left without a trace of reluctance, leaving Fu Shiyan alone. Slumped on the sofa, his whole body felt cold. He finally understood why Su Zi's data analysis skills were so strong, why her understanding of luxury goods was more thorough than that of any expert. Why is there always an air of aristocracy about her, so mismatched with her origins? As it turns out, she was never a sparrow at all. She was a phoenix all along. It was he who broke her wings, all the while believing he had given her a piece of sky. How ridiculous. Fu Shiyan returned home in a daze. What welcomed him was Dodo's heart-wrenching cries. I want mommy. I don't want that mean aunt. Make her go away. In the living room, Dodo was going crazy, throwing all the toys that Lin Weiwei had bought for him onto the floor. Lin Weiwei stood by, crying like a rain-soaked pear blossom. Shiyan. Look at him. I just wanted to play with him for a little while. Fu Shiyan looked at the chaos before him. Listening to his son's cries of I want mommy, his heart felt as if it were being cut repeatedly by a dull knife. He rushed upstairs and picked up Dodo in one swift motion. Let's go. Daddy will take you to find mommy. He doesn't want to care about anything anymore. The company, the stocks, the family, none of them is as important as his wife and son. He is going to find her. He wanted to tell her that he was wrong. He wanted to kneel down and beg her to come back. However, when he drove madly with Dodo to Su Zi's place, what awaited him was a closed door. On the door, a cold and icy note. The house has been sold. Traveling. Do not disturb. She has left. Just when he finally came to his senses, she left with that man, leaving cleanly and thoroughly. Wow. Dodo's cries echoed through the entire empty corridor. Fu Shiyan held his son and slowly knelt down. This invincible man shed tears of regret for the first time. Su Zi indeed left, but not with Lu Jinian. She simply wanted to change her environment. She went to Yunnan, the place she had always wanted to visit but never had the chance to go. She turned off her phone, cutting off all contact with the outside world. During the day, she wandered through the ancient city, admiring the blue sky and white clouds, and listening to the babbling water. In the evening, she would go live, chatting with her fans and sharing her experiences. Her live streaming room was becoming more and more popular. Fans loved this laid-back streamer who didn't sell products. Only stories and scenery. They called her the healing goddess. Suzy felt that this kind of life was very good, calm, free, and full of hope. She thought she could completely bid farewell to her past like this. Until that day, when she saw a different kind of bullet comment during her live stream. It was a newly registered account with no level. The ID was, Doudu Mrs. Mommy. He said, "Mommy, do you not love me anymore?" Just a single sentence. And Suzy's heart shattered in an instant. She fought back her tears and smiled gently at the camera. "Little one, did you perhaps enter the wrong livestream room?" She didn't want her personal matters to affect her fans. However, that ID stubbornly sent another message. "Doudu thinks of Mommy. I didn't go in the wrong. Mommy, please don't abandon me. Doudu will be very obedient. Doudu thinks of Mommy. Daddy said he was wrong. And he won't bully you anymore. Doudu thinks of Mommy. Can we go home, please?" The fans in the live stream all sensed that something was off. "Is this my sister's son? God, how pitiful. It breaks my heart to hear this. What kind of operation is this jerk pulling? Using the child as a ploy for sympathy. That's just disgusting." Suzy's tears could no longer be held back. She hurriedly apologized to her fans and then turned off the live stream. Hugging her knees, she sat on the floor of the inn, crying uncontrollably. How could she not love Dodo? Dodo is her life. The reason she left so resolutely was that she didn't want Dodo to live in a family without love. She thought that Fu Shiyan would at least be a competent father. But now it seemed she was wrong. She could no longer continue to evade like this. For Dodo, she must go back. Go back and reclaim everything that should have belonged to her, including the custody of her son. The next day, Suzy booked a flight back to Jiangqing. She didn't tell anyone, including Lu Jinian, who showed up on time in her live streaming room every day. When she dragged her suitcase and appeared downstairs at the Fu Group, everyone was stunned. The receptionist even dared not to recognize her. The woman before me, clad in a simple black trench coat, with slightly curled long hair and lips like fire. Her gaze, confident and resolute, radiates an overwhelming aura that discourages strangers from approaching. Is this the same Mrs. Fu who would lower her head and timidly acquiesce every time she came to the office? "I'm looking for Fu Shiyan." Suzy spoke softly. "Miss Su." The receptionist stammered. Do you have an appointment?" "No." Then I'm afraid that's not possible. Mr. Fu." Before the words were finished, the door of the president's exclusive elevator opened. Fu Shiyan stepped out. The moment he saw Suzy, he froze completely. He had lost weight and looked haggard. The dark circles under his eyes made him look 10 years older. He looked at her, his gaze filled with a joy that came from having something lost returned, and a fear that ran deep into his bones. He was afraid that she was there to say goodbye to him again. "You." He struggled to speak, his voice hoarse to an unreasonable degree. "You're back." Suzy did not answer his question. She just looked at him and said clearly, word by word, "Fu Shiyan, I want Dodo. We'll see each other in court." Court. This is a place that Fu Shiyan never imagined he would come to with Suzy in his lifetime. He sat in the defendant's seat, looking across at the woman who was terrifyingly calm. Inside, it felt like a chilling emptiness. The defense. "Do you agree to transfer custody of the child to the plaintiff?" The judge's voice was solemn and grave. Fu Shiyan's lawyer immediately stood up. "We do not agree. As the president of the Fu Group, the defendant is far superior to the plaintiff in both economic strength and social status. We have the ability to provide the child with the best living and educational environment. The plaintiff currently has no legitimate occupation, no fixed income, and no stable residence. Placing the child in her care would be detrimental to the child's healthy growth. The lawyer's words were all reasonable. Everyone believed that this lawsuit, Susie was bound to lose. Yet, Susie smiled. She slowly stood up, her gaze sweeping across the entire room. Finally, it landed on Fu Shiyan's pale face. Who says I have no proper job, no fixed income, and no stable residence? Her voice was not loud, but it clearly reached the ears of everyone present. My name is Susie, and my English name is Vivian. I am the founder and CEO of the MCN organization Xinyao. My personal assets are currently valued at around 3 billion. As for my residence, she paused, took out a set of keys from her bag. Is the penthouse of Building 1 in the most expensive real estate project in Jiangqing, Yunding Tiangong, considered a permanent residence. Boom. The audience was in uproar. Fu Shiyan suddenly looked up, incredulously staring at her. Xinyao, the mysterious organization that has recently stirred up the live streaming industry, signing countless top streamers, the founder, is actually her. Is there still the penthouse of the cloud-top Heavenly Palace? That mansion worth 500 million. Wasn't it bought by a mysterious tycoon? How could this be? It's impossible, shouted the lawyer from the Fu family. You're lying. We've checked your information. And you don't have any assets under your name. Oh, is that so? Susie chuckled softly. Then that can only mean that your investigation skills are too poor. She handed a stack of documents to the judge. This is my proof of assets, as well as the proof of company shareholding. All the assets are in an overseas trust fund left to me by my mother. 7 years ago, I voluntarily gave up my inheritance rights to the fund for the sake of marriage. But now, I want to take it back. Fu Shiyan's body shook violently. He remembered. 7 years ago, before they got married, Susie indeed had him sign a document. At that time, he thought it was just an ordinary prenuptial agreement and signed it without even looking. It turns out that document was a declaration of renunciation of inheritance. And he, with his own hand, signed his name. It was he who made her give up the billions of assets. Furthermore, Susie looked at the lawyer from the Fu family, her gaze instantly becoming sharp. You said, my husband can provide the best living environment for the child. May I ask, is a father who is gallivanting abroad with another woman while his child is suffering from a high fever worthy of discussing the term best? Is a family that uses emotional neglect to drive their own son into isolation worthy of discussing the phrase healthy growth? She took out Dodo's psychological assessment report. The word severe depression tendencies were like a red-hot branding iron, searing painfully into Fu Shiyan's heart. His breath was completely halted. Dodo, actually, is this sick? And he, as a father, was completely unaware. He is truly a bastard. Silence. The judge rapped the gavel. He looked at the evidence in his hand, then glanced at Fu Shiyan, whose face looked like death. Finally, he slowly began to speak. The court now declares, the custody of the child is awarded to the plaintiff, Susie. The defendant, Fu Shiyan, is required to pay a monthly alimony of 500,000 yuan until the child reaches adulthood. The judgment is complete. The court is adjourned. As the gavel fell, Fu Shiyan felt that his entire world had. He lost utterly and completely. He not only lost his wife, but now, even his son is about to leave him. He watched Susie leave without looking back. Escorted by the bodyguards, he wanted to chase after her, but his legs felt as heavy as lead, unable to move. Poof! A mouthful of fresh blood spurted from his mouth. His vision went dark, and he fell straight down. Fu Shiyan was ill, with acute stress and prolonged mental pressure. He collapsed. Lying in the hospital, He had become a mere shadow of his former self. The Fu Group, too, fell into an unprecedented crisis due to his downfall. Old Lady Fu turned gray overnight. She put aside all her pride to seek help from Su Zi. Zi, I'm begging you. Go see Shurian. He's not going to make it. He's been murmuring your name. Su Zi was accompanying Do Do in a sand tray game. Upon hearing this, she simply said lightly, he won't die. As for the crisis facing the Fu family, that's the price he has to pay. It has nothing to do with me. Old Madame Fu stared at her cold profile, finally realizing how absurdly wrong she had been all along. The Fu family had, with their own hands, forced a virtuous wife and good mother into becoming an emotionless queen of vengeance. A month later, Su Zi was leaving Jiang City with Dodo, preparing to settle abroad. At the airport, Lu Jinyan came personally to see her off. Are you really not going to think about me? He looked at her, his gaze filled with undeniable affection. There are plenty of good women in this world, so why on earth would you hang yourself from this crooked tree of mine? Su Zi said with a smile. I can't help it. I just like crooked trees. Lu Jinyan shrugged helplessly. I'll wait for you, no matter how long it takes. Su Zi smiled but said nothing. She held Daoda's hand, just about to go through security. A staggering figure suddenly rushed over. It was Fu Shurian. He was dressed in a crumpled hospital gown, and his face was deathly pale, without a care in the world. He broke through the security's obstruction and ran in front of Su Zi. With a thud, he knelt down. In the bustling airport hall, this man, once invincible, was now kneeling before his ex-wife. Zi. He tilted his head back, tears streaming down uncontrollably. Don't go. Please, don't go. I know I was wrong. I truly know I was wrong. I'll do anything you ask, even if it means dying. I'm willing, as long as you're willing to stay. His voice was hoarse, humble, filled with despair. The people around them stopped in their tracks, pointing and whispering at them. Su Zi looked at him, her gaze unwavering. She crouched down to meet his eyes. Then, word by word, she said clearly, Fu Shurian, listen to me. I will no longer love you. Never again. But, she paused, reached out, gently wiping away the tears from his face. I don't hate you anymore, because it's not worth it. After saying that, she stood up, took Dodo's hand, and walked into the security checkpoint without looking back. Fu Shurian knelt there, watching her resolute figure, and finally, he broke down. He was like a child abandoned by the whole world, letting out a beastly, mournful howl. 5 years later, Paris. A top-notch fashion gala. Su Zi, as a special guest, donned a stunning red dress that captivated the entire venue. Beside her stood a refined boy named Dodo, who had grown into a graceful youth. And there was another, Lu Jinyan, who remained steadfastly by her side without a moment's distance. Have you thought about how to respond to me? Lu Jinyan asked with a smile. Let me give you another probationary period. Su Zi cheekily winked. Just then, a waiter, holding a tray, accidentally bumped into her. The red wine spilled all over her. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. The waiter turned pale with fright, constantly apologizing. Su Zi was just about to say it was okay, but when she saw the waiter's face clearly, she froze. That face was still handsome, yet the vigor of those years is long gone. What has replaced it is the weariness of life and humility. It is Fu Shurian. He looked at her, and in his eyes, there was a deep-rooted regret. He did not speak, but quietly picked up a clean napkin, crouched down, and intended to wipe the stains from her skirt. His actions were so reverent, as if he were handling a rare treasure. Su Zi took a step back, avoiding him. She looked at him and whispered, It's all in the past. Fu Shiyan's body trembled violently. He slowly raised his head, looking at her, his lips quivering, wanting to say something. In the end, however, he merely smiled with reddened eyes. Yes, it's all in the past. It's just that his remaining years will be lived in this endless remorse that he himself has created.